What's up, y'all? Welcome to the first ever of many Koffee Originals podcast, the KO podcast. So we're going to be going through a few things like editing, getting the manaa ready for prints, improving things and so on, and a general overview what it's like to actually be part of Koffee Originals. Is Koffee a fire-breathing dragon, dictator, a monster of an editor guy, or is he just a person, and so on? Before we start talking about the actual product and it being edited, let's ask Ed a few questions. Bro, how did you find Koffee Comics and what made you want to be a part of Koffee Originals?
Gotcha. Okay, so I found Koffee Comics actually through your beef videos. Especially the video with that guy that made that really crappy superhero manga.
Oh, Sinverse.
Sinverse, yes, that's.
Awesome. Were you turned off by my tone, as many people accuse me of having a very mean tone? So apparently it's a turn off. Did that bother you, or you didn't care?
At the beginning, it did bother me a little bit, I'm going to be honest. And the reason it bothered me was because of insecurity in my work.
So it sounds like you've been watching for a while before you actually reached out, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I would say like over a year.
Oh, snap. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, guys, it just takes time to be able to digest the caffeine, I suppose. Look, y'all, I did take Ed on board because one, I saw the product, and of course there were things I did not like and things that I said need to be fixed. But I did see that this is a diamond in the rough. You know, that your product cannot be perfect in the beginning. You know, for most people, it just can't. You need somebody who can actually see the potential in someone, right? And I'm all about, you know, unlocking people's potential. Imagine if I said, no, it doesn't look like that, so screw you, it's over. No, that is a bad editor. A good editor works with you, right, and helps you unlock what you didn't see before, right? And you as a artist yourself have to have the creativity to dig within, take the feedback, and remold the things to make it better. Alright, so now we're gonna get right into it. So what you guys are seeing here is the before and after. Tell us your first impression when I did that video where I was redesigning Sona. You know, trying to change her costume, trying to make it more feminine and so on. You know, one person called me a sexist individual. Others said, nah, you messed up the design and whatnot. Now, you could understand what I was trying to do. So tell us what was going on in your mind when you saw me like try to touch things up.
So I would say that at first, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say upset. I would more say like, you know, like my ego was a little bit shattered, but I knew that that was a good thing, and that I should take the advice and go back and design something even better, which ended up being the case here.
Awesome.
This is one of my favorite changes. You gave me the critique that the character design was too manly, and you're right. Actually, I mean. I'm more used to drawing male characters, big brawly, like strong characters. So taking on a girl character was a little bit of a challenge for me.
You can show us a different page, and while you do so, explain to the people what is Sona actually about.
Superhero action comic. There wasn't really much thought that went into the first, let's say, like 15 to 20 pages actually of the story. Initially, it just started as just trying to tell the story of a girl balancing her life as a superhero with her life as just like a regular working class girl. And then it started to evolve into more of a story about identity, existentialism, and responsibility. As an artist, I kind of, sometimes I think to myself, would I be doing this if nobody else was watching? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot about that question. And honestly, me personally, I feel like I would be doing it. And what I notice a lot with other artists is that I feel like they're just doing it for the aesthetics of being an artist, they just do it for the numbers, you know what I mean? So for the likes on Instagram, for the attention.
this is exactly what the public needs. And I think Sona is very much so all ages friendly, that I think even a 10-year-old can read it and take something from it.
I wanted to get to the skill level enough to be able to appeal to all ages. So yeah, you're right on the money on that.
That's what makes Koffee Originals unique, is that we have different artists who know who they are aiming for, right? But it still harbors all the themes and values and ingredients of what Koffee Originals is all about.
Peace.